don't have the little things on my name.
Happy Friday and welcome. We're back with another live Biscuits with Bosses. We'll get that fixed for you right here, Yamara. Matt, if you can help her with that.
I'm sorry.
Yamara said she couldn't get a hold of something.
Oh, I don't have fancy titles on my name.
Oh, there's a way to do that. We can help you with that.
Okay.
Let me start from the beginning. Sorry. Live with Biscuits with Bosses, we're here to get to know leaders in the film and television industry over a spot of tea. But stick around, of course, as we dive deep to unpack how can we elevate the future of filmmaking. Now, I would like to take just a quick moment to give a shout out to The Midnight, which is the band we just heard doing America Online. Phenomenal song. Really gets us into the LA vibes for today. And I would like to give just a quick special thanks to this episode's sponsors. Oh, look at that, guys. We have sponsors. I'm so excited. Okay, so production value, the indie producer's best automated communication from development all the way to distribution. Now, this production value software is specifically for my content creators, my video producers, even my indie filmmakers. And with today's special code, you can get 10% off. That's right. With BW Bosses, you can get 10% off this software that is specifically made to get you from from development to distribution. And of course, we have some other goodies as we continue through today's live, so be sure to stay tuned for some very special offers just for you. Now, if you do not know who I am, I'm your host, rocking Casual Friday, as you can tell, because I don't usually wear my leather jacket. My name is Kay Ross, writer, producer, and founder of Owl Echo Entertainment. And with me today, as always, video editor, social media maverick, and our modern day Ed McMahon, Mr. Matt York. Great
Hello.
to have you.
Happy to be here.
Now, of course, I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to introduce our very special guest. With me today is Yamara Taylor, a seasoned comedy writer and executive producer. She has over 2 decades of experience in film and television. Her credits include writing and producing for acclaimed series such as The Boondocks, which you will know and love from Adult Swim, Blackish, which needs no introduction, Dave from FX, Saved by the Bell on Peacock. She's developed pilots for ABC, Fox, Disney, and BET, and written features for Netflix, Columbia, Lionsgate, and Universal. Now, she also offers private sessions for writers and producers, which I cannot recommend enough. This woman is amazing at really getting to the heart of the story. And she would love to, any executive seeking high-level creative supervision, pitch shaping, idea development, whether you're breaking open a stuck story, clarifying a pitch, or just reconnecting with the heart of your idea, she provides showrunner-level guidance to help take your project to the next stage. And I'll make sure that in the chat here, you actually get her socials, both for Instagram and on TikTok. Of course, I've been talking enough for Prince Zuko to join us now. Hello, little one. Thank you so much for being here. Please join me in welcoming the lovely, the talented, the fellow boss ass bitch, Yamara Taylor, guys.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you. What a wonderful introduction that you gave me, and that also was very lengthy. I think I need to.
We're dropping our things. That's all it comes down to.
It's hard to do a bio. It's hard, right? I had to give you a bio. You made that sound so much better than what I gave you. Bios are hard. I don't know.
Are hard. Bio,
right?
Look, and there's a bio for every version. So you know how you have to tweak a pitch for different people? I think you have to tweak your bio for different occasions. Yeah.
I thought this morning, I was like, does Beyonce give a bio? No. Everyone knows who she is. Nobody is like, okay, and then can you just send over a bio? I don't even think she's asked for one. None of her people are asked for her bio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before I forget, tell me, what is it everyone's drinking right now?
I, Kay, am drinking my morning smoothie that I have after I work out. It's a protein smoothie with whey protein. It's grass-fed whey protein. It's super good and it doesn't have a taste. Buy it now on Amazon.
Everybody get that link.
And I stole the recipe for my smoothie, just real quick, from the Beverly Hills Juice Club on Beverly Boulevard. Their smoothies are like $15. And I finally figured out that I could get a juicer, and I juice all my own shit. And I juice so this is carrot, ginger, a little bit of milk, but you use whatever, a banana, and I freeze all of that like in these big soup, frozen soup cubes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do that every day with my whey protein, and I save so much money, and it's so delicious. And keeps me full for like 3-4 hours. Because you have to have protein. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta have protein. It's so true. And I love that you knew the 1-2 punch, because you said you made it like after your workout routine. It's perfect, because the one thing I learned from my like personal training and my personal health classes is that your body craves both like sugar, like it needs to replenish some amount of energy immediately, which is why chocolate milk is such a big thing. But if you have protein, it actually fulfills both cravings, because that's actually what your body needs to sustain itself. So that's like the perfect combo, right? The workout and then the sugar protein.
Yeah. Well, let me not let people think that I work out all the time. Every day. No, this was because I watched Love Island last night, and Meg Thee Stallion was on, and everybody was twerking, and I do not know how to twerk, but I was like, maybe I could do some squats. That would not kill me.
Fair. I could use the Megan Thee Stallion squat routine myself. Matt, what are you drinking today, sir?
Yeah, sorry. I am drinking just a Coca-Cola. It's Friday. It is East Coast my time, so I'm just enjoying it. I figured I'll just have a Coke. Normally I have tea, but whatever. What are you drinking today?
No, look, whatever happens, and I feel like the older I get, the more the whatever is in regular play. Like yesterday, I may have gotten to that point where I was like, well, salad is my lunch, and I'm happy to have my salad, but my entire schedule had gotten off kilter, so it was actually going to be like an early dinner. I'm like, if it's going to be an early dinner and I'm doing salad anyway, I might as well have pizza with my salad, because adults.
Yeah.
And so when I got it, for me, anytime I have anything that's carby like that, I do need some sort of carbonation. So I had a Coke, because pizza and Coke. Now, admittedly, go ahead.
Do you guys drink Coke Zero?
No.
Occasionally.
Let me tell you something, Matt. Occasionally. First of all, I have one cherry Coke Zero every single day. It is my treat. And I know when I'm old, people are going to be like, you should not have had that cherry Coke Zero. It is my treat. And when people come to my house, they go right for my fridge, because I always have it. So Coke Zero so this is what I heard. First of all, it tastes better than Diet Coke. And I've never really been a soda person. But I stopped drinking. I started drinking again. But when I did stop drinking, I figured out that if I give myself like a carbonated treat, it kind of does the same thing that alcohol does a little bit, like at dinner, where it's like, okay, I'll have a little, right? So then Coke Zero came out, and I was like, this is the superior diet beverage. And then Cherry Coke Zero came out, and I was like, okay, they are killing the game right now. So then I heard, this has been all over the internet, that the recipe for Coke Zero, was the original recipe for Diet Coke. That's why Diet Coke is so disgusting comparatively. It's better than Diet Pepsi. Like, and people that serve Diet Pepsi, by the way, no. Like, they have Diet Coke, they go, we have Diet Pepsi. That's how they say it. So anyway, you should try Coke Zero.
I do enjoy a Coke Zero. My partner's parents are super cherry Coke Zero fans. They have a bunch of those and a bunch of like Sprite Zeros and stuff as well. So like I enjoy it. But I agree. It's so what? Sorry, because I researched this. So there was Coke, right? And then they were releasing new Coke in the 90s. and it flopped because it didn't taste as good because they went from sugar to corn syrup, or corn syrup to aspartame or whatever it was.
Right.
But then because that was such a flop, they came back with Coke Classic, right, and just redid it. But that allowed them to change the recipe from original sugar to, I think it was aspartame, and then they took out new Coke, replaced it with Coke Zero, or originally Diet Coke, which is what everyone loved. And then they were like, oh, we could make it better if we use more aspartame than sugar. So then they made that Diet Coke, which is now what everyone hates. Now you're right, Coke Zero is the original Diet Coke. And then like straight the regular Coke is their Coke Classic, Coca-Cola Classic, which isn't actually Coca-Cola Classic.
So that is exactly the information I was trying to summon, but I summed it up as whatever I said, fake Coke, and then it's not you. Like, there's no way I will remember any of that, but that's exactly the information I was talking about.
Coke over Pepsi all the way.
But you know what? With not being diet, like Pepsi is to me the superior non-diet drink because regular Coke is very spicy.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as sweet.
And Diet Dr. Pepper before Coke Zero was to me the better diet, Is it a cola?
Yeah, it's a cola. And for me, Dr. Pepper is the reigning supreme because it's not Coke or Pepsi for me. It is Dr. Pepper or nothing. Or Dr. Pepper or root beer, and Dr. Pepper
over root beer.
Dr. Pepper over root beer because it's more consistent. But what in the world have they been coming out with the new Dr. Pepper flavors? I mean,
I didn't know the ones.
There's no need to put any spin on perfection, guys. The original is just what it needs to be.
That's how I felt about Mountain Dew.
Right?
Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
I mean, I know marketing wise, they got to do something new and shiny just to keep interest. And that's how Cool Ranch became a thing, right? Like it was not part of the mainstay for the longest time. It's just, it reigned supreme.
It's Cool Ranch, but I don't know. Nacho cheese.
Right?
Doritos are hard. Please don't bring Doritos to my house because not only will I eat them, now I eat Doritos again. So now when I go out, I see, if I go grocery shopping, I'm like, and maybe Doritos? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and now that's a whole thing. It's the same way. I'm the same way with those ginger snap cookies at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I feel, aren't they good?
So good.
Oh my God. Chewy pieces of ginger in a cookie. And I try to keep it to just 6 because 6 cookies are like 120 calories. And I'm like, that works. I don't keep it to just 6.
Yep.
So don't buy it. Just don't buy it. Don't bring that shit in here.
Okay, I feel like this brings up a very controversial but necessary getting to know you question, which is, okay, so we're on set. You're allowing yourself that one snack food that you only ever get on set. What's that snack food you get on set every time?
Snack. My favorite set food, but it depends. It's a catering thing.
Okay.
So it's only when the caterer company, I don't know, in my head it's the same company for all the time. They do this fucking cookie pie.
Ooh.
Oh my God. It's like I guess it's basically a pizookie or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just this like delicious, warm cookie. And then if it's day to day, it's probably like some chips. Or no, it's not. It's red vine.
Yes, red vine.
It's red vine.
Which I feel like this is telling. Are you from the West Coast originally?
I know what you're gonna say. Red vine over Twizzler, except now I like Twizzler too, which I didn't expect, but I only started liking it because my daughter would get it when we would trick or treat. And I was like, these are disgusting. I'll eat them for you. And then I started eating Twizzler. So now every Halloween, I'll go get Twizzler. Like now it's because she doesn't trick or treat anymore. So I'm like, where am I going to get my Halloween Twizzler? Now I go buy it and give it out to the kids, but no kids really come to my neighborhood. So I eat a giant bag of Twizzler myself over Halloween. So now I do both.
Yes.
I know exactly where you were going with this, homie.
Well, the classic competitions, they remain, Twizzler over Red Vine, or, Rolling Stones versus the Beatles, or, Biggie versus Tupac. Like, all of the classic competitions are always going to be there for every generation. So
I don't agree. I don't agree.
Really? You think one of them actually finally wins and the other
No,
one
I
gets knocked
think
off?
that my daughter doesn't give two fucks about Tupac or Biggie. You know what I mean? They'll have their own debates.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
old. We're
Oh.
old. That's classic hip hop art, classic rap to them.
So they'll just put it into the same category. They don't even see the competition.
They don't care. They're like, what are you, Red Vine or Twizzler? What are you guys?
I was raised on Twizzler. Twizzler was like my go-to movie snack for the longest time. And I was raised in the DC area, so that is very much a default for the area. And then I found out that I am technically allergic to wheat, and it has wheat in it. So it's now neither.
Twizzler has wheat?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Why?
Binder, probably. A lot of soups have wheat as well. So anything that has like a liquid state that needs to be thickened, and I imagine that's part of what thickens Twizzlers.
Soup has a binder?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can I tell you my all-time favorite fake writer's room product that I really think should be real?
Yeah. Dish. We never get like actual tea during tea time. So yeah, Dish. This is great.
So this has to be maybe season 5 of Blackish. I think we were doing a story. We were trying to get, I think we were maybe gonna have Jackée Harry on to be Ruby's best friend that she fell out with in college. And I don't know, I have no idea what happened to this. It was like a little B story. I don't know what happened. I may have gotten it killed because of my goofy ass. But I was working on it with, I remember Christian Lander being in the room, and Rob Chavis. And Rob spells his name with 2 B's. Rob Bubba, that's what I call him. So we're working on this B story. And if anybody else was there, forgive me. I love you. I just remember those two. So we were talking about why they fell out. And I will say, I don't remember who pitched what. It's really hard to remember. And we're all just laughing. But the idea on the table was that they fell out because Ruby had a business idea that Jackée did not want to do. And they're like best friends in real life, which is fantastic. Like Jackée did Instant Mom, and Jennifer Lewis was on. It was the whole thing anyway. So the idea on the table was that they were going to fall out because Ruby had a business idea that Jackée didn't support, and the business idea was soup pops.
Oh no.
And I want to say this part was my idea, but I think the slogan was all Christian Lander, a brilliant Canadian who said, because what's the first thing you want to do when you have soup? Cool it off. The idea was that you have soup popsicles, so you could take your soup on the go.
I mean,
I like
it's not terrible, but I understand the resistance. Like, tell me more, but also I'm not sure even more would help.
Be fair, the premise was that it was a bad idea. I'm like, no, it's supposed to be a bad idea that Jackée did not want to do. Also, we should do soup pops.
I love that. That's brilliant.
I think my excitement could get something killed in a room in a heartbeat. Was Yamara geeked about it? What is it? I I was really trying. It was a few of us. It was like me, Doug Hall. There was a bunch of us that were so fucking excited about having a Jack, and I think the kids were like using somebody's credit card to buy all these like Harry and David gift baskets full of meat and cheeses.
Yeah.
And Jack just kept eating all the salami.
Oh no.
Until, and this was a Doug Hall picture. It was like he couldn't fit his slides anymore because his feet had swelled from the sodium.
Oh no.
It didn't go. It didn't happen. If it's goofy and I'm excited about it, it goes away.
You know, but I feel like that is the nature of comedy, right? Like you have to get through, you know, layers and layers and layers of things that are silly and goofy and wacky and until you get to, you know, golden. And the only thing that's really golden is consensus, right? It has to be something that's funny to more than just one or two people.
I don't know.
Who's the hardest person you've ever had to sell on an idea in a writer's room? I'm just curious now.
The hardest person that I had to sell on, well, always the showrunner, but I would say Kenya Barris is a hard sell sometimes. But I don't know. I think, like, and I feel like a lot of it in writers' rooms is like, if you're in a good room and everybody believes in each other, you know, everybody will yes and try to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's always the showrunner. That's scary because you like, I'm sorry. Like sometimes, you know, sometimes you just got to apologize before you go in. I'm sorry about what I'm about to try to ask you to do. Can we do this? Don't say no. And then it's like, okay, you're lost. That's why everybody says put it in your pilot. I will.
I feel like I need that t-shirt, actually. I feel like that's the precursor, right? Day one of Writer's Room, you're just going to wear this t-shirt that says, allow me to start with, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. This is great. You don't want it. I'm going to take it. You're lost. Bye. You have to think you're the funniest person in the room. And that doesn't mean that like all your ideas are good. You know, apparently Soup Pops is not a good idea for a storyline nor a business. But
look, okay, I have one more question before we move on to Victory Round, because I really want to hear like about your kind of day-to-day and like what's been going on. But so the question that occurs to me is because I just finished writing a short comedy scene for the LA Directors Lab, and which I adore, and I've been trying to get in as a director for a minute, but I'm like, right now I'm focusing on my writing.
Wait, hold on. Slow down. Sure. What is the Directors Lab and why are you not in it?
Oh, LA Directors Lab is a workshop that they host every other month, maybe quarterly, clearly in LA. And the purpose of it is so that directors have the ability to kind of practice their skills more frequently between jobs. Or if you're trying to stretch into a new area. So like last time they did working with stunts. So if you are a director and you'd never had a chance to actually work with a stunt coordinator, this time you could as part of the workshop. This workshop that I just applied to is for medical procedurals, because, you know, there are a lot of them that are blowing up right now, including The Pit. So if you wanted to demonstrate your ability to write towards a medical procedural, this would be that opportunity. The issue I have as a director is that I've only ever directed shorts and some of them are only workshops. So I'm like, I don't have a lot of proof that I qualify as a, you know, an experienced director to do this lab in the first place, but I have lots of time to do this as a writer. And quite frankly, that's my focus right now anyway. Like there's a project I'm moving forward with as my directorial debut, but between now and then, my main focus in order to like bring in the bacon, as it were, like to keep the lights on, I'm writing. But I feel like I've not really pushed into my comedy as much. And I really want to show people like, hey, I have a funny bone. And I think that's my question to you is, when you're writing comedy, structurally, do you kind of go in feeling like it's just a story and then you go back and do like a funny pass? Or when you're writing it, you're writing for funny?
I'm always writing for funny. I'm always writing for funny. I don't let me think. If what I think I can't I think I'm always gonna look for what is funny about the thing I'm gonna write. Like I can't help it,
Yep.
right? Like because that's just how my brain works. Like I can't be serious. I don't know how blue this podcast is, but I'll say I've had moments, intimate moments where it's not time for a joke right now. But I might have one. And maybe that's why I'm divorced 2 times. That's not why. But I'm just saying
I was like, that shouldn't be why. If they can't handle a woman with a good sense of
Shouldn't.
humor, like they
Yeah,
shouldn't
and
walk
I'm
down the
not
aisle.
and the joke, just to be clear, the joke is not about the person I'm with, right? Like the joke isn't, it's just my brain. It's just like if you see someone fall, your first instinct might be to laugh. If you see someone like my mind works like a Looney Tunes cartoon
Yep.
at every fucking point. And so I'm always gonna lead with comedy because I don't know, it's just fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that's what I'll say.
No, I love that. And thank you for clarifying, because I feel like part of why the question came up is because in my mind, it was funny the first time. And as I did the revision, it felt story-wise clearer, but comedy-wise not as funny. And I didn't know if it was because I had been with it for too long, or if this is going to sound terrible. I love physical comedy. And part of the reason I love physical comedy is because I kind of love the difference between what's being said closer to the frame and what's happening further from the in the background.
Yeah.
That if you put it on mute, I totally still get what's happening. And I love that kind of comedy, because then if you do have something that's funny being said, it just adds to that comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly I was writing the scene. I was like, I'm not sure the physical stuff is funny. Which means the core of it isn't funny anymore. And I'm like, well, I'm going to put it out because again, it could just be me. So I have to throw it to
Can you
somebody
tell
else.
me do you
Sure.
mind sharing what the scene is? Is it a
No,
scene
no,
piece
it is
or
a
what?
scene.
Okay. Ooh, she's taking off her jacket.
I am.
Matt,
Get
this is
warm.
jacket off. This is a jacket off situation.
I felt like joining you in the tank top of it all. So here we are.
My one-time workout outfit in 1 week.
You know what though? I feel like you would, even in the gym, I feel like you would be like low-key stylish. Like whether, what I mean?
Yeah, I got through taking my kid to private school and being on set in athleisure because it's very comfortable, but also you don't have to compete with anybody financially because you don't know, I might just have been working out, bitch. Get off me. I don't need Chanel for that shit. Oh, you don't work out? Even though it was like overly coordinated and I wasn't coming from working out. My shoes were like super fresh, like nothing with it. Full beat, full makeup. You don't know?
I feel like you just decoded LA because,
Yeah.
like, seriously, I feel like there was a learning curve when I first got to LA, and half of that was do not dress up looking like the money you actually have, or even more money than you actually have, because everybody's looking for the person with money. So if you look like a person with money, you will get all sorts of people clamoring to you, and 99% of them you do not want around you.
And if you look like a person with money, you probably don't have money.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, because here it's, wrinkled shirt and jeans and one nice accessory. And if you can pick up that one nice accessory, you'll be like, oh, that's evidence they have money right there. The watch, the earrings, whatever it is. Like
LA is where hippies do. We, skaters and surfers and beach bums. Like people forget.
Yeah.
Flip-flops.
Sorry. So the scene is based on the first time I ever was rushed to the emergency room with lower abdominal pain.
Hilarious.
strangely, the first person I had read this that wasn't like someone I knew, and she was like, there was only one part that was really funny to me because everything else just rang true, and I was like, oh shit. So I'm sorry.
That makes me think it'll be more funny if it's true.
So I'm in the emergency room, finally getting, inspected by the doctor. And in this scene, the nurse is also there. So the doctor is very focused on getting out of there as soon as possible. The nurse clearly wants to do her job and in a friendly manner. The person in the gown, the only comfortable position is curled forward because lower abdomen pain, usually that's how you relieve it, right? Except that the bed is reclined too far back and the back of her gown isn't tied. So she's getting cold. So all you see as he's going through his very dry, very, rigid questions, which after a time are starting to sound accusatory, like, are you sure you're not just pregnant and wasting my time? She's literally like curling forward, trying to get comfortable and then reclining back to try and get warm. And no one's putting two and two together that she's literally rocking back and forth because she can't get comfortable because no one's paying attention to her. They're grilling her, but they're not paying attention to her. And it finally, she like bursts into like, and I had to do this because I couldn't like let her throw up, but that was the end. In real life, I was throwing up because the pain was so bad, but instead she's falling into Tourette's where she's like, Kermit's ass. Like she's full on cursing in the most random ass ways because she's suffering, and it draws the nurse back into her like, what the fuck is going on? Meanwhile, the doctor's like, just let me know what the results of the urine test are. At which point she's like, if you just give her pain medication, we can do the scan and we can get her out of here sooner for whatever the date is that you're looking at your watch for. So cut to, they've gotten the CAT scan and he's like, so the mass, because he can't say anything else, the mass on your left ovary is 11 centimeters large. Unfortunately, you'll have to go and see a specialist to figure out what the mass is. Here is your pain medication that you've been asking for the whole time. And I'm giving you 2 weeks worth because it's going to take that long to see, a specialist. And she's like, don't worry, doc, I'll name it after you. Because the whole time he's been accusing her of being pregnant. Something's still going to come out of her. It's just this 11 centimeter mass.
Right.
Which size of a softball, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, because I was like, girl, I don't know how big that is.
Yeah. And so the physical comedy of it was the rocking back and forth, and no one was paying attention. So it rose and it rose and it rose until she,
Meaning, so just so I know, physically, the visual is she's in a hospital bed.
Mm-hmm.
She's laying on her side. She's wearing a hospital gown, nothing underneath.
Mm-hmm.
The gown is open so you can see her butt.
Or her back, because she's sitting.
She's sitting. How is her body positioned?
Like fetal on the railing.
Fetal, like almost like clutching the railing because she's in pain.
Yeah.
You can see her back. Is she wearing panties or no panties?
I mean, I think for the purposes of this exercise, she's going to have to wear underwear.
Okay. Can you see her underwear?
Let's go with yes.
Okay. Can you see her legs?
Yes.
All right. So, and then when you start the scene, where is the hospital bed? How is it?
I would put it like, yeah.
Slightly. Okay. Yeah. And by the end of the scene, where is it? And so the game of the scene is he's asking annoying questions. She's in pain, trying to answer. Well, how is the hospital bed moving up?
Oh, I mean, it's really, it only moves up when the nurse comes in. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe she could try to move it up herself.
Well, what does she get from moving it up herself? What is her problem? That she's in pain and she's cold?
Yeah. And she is either in one position and relieved of the pain or in another position and relieved of the cold, but she can't find a middle ground between the two.
Okay. So if she is, what position does she need to be in to relieve the pain?
Curled forward. Yeah. In the fetal position.
Curled Well, fetal forward is forward, but fetal is on the side.
That's true. It's both forward and off to the side because she's holding onto the railing.
So almost like her knees are kind of tucked to her chest, and she's like this.
Mm-hmm.
And her feet would maybe kind of be flat on the bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then what is the position she needs to be in to be warm?
Either with blanket around her in that position or even with the seat up in that position. Just something to cover her back because the room is cold.
Okay, and no one is
breaking story on this right now. This is great. Thank you, by the way.
This is my favorite. I love this shit. So who's in the room? The doctor and her?
The doctor and the nurse. The nurse leaves early into this because she's checking on the urine analysis. So doctor and nurse lets him know her status. He asks about the urine test. She's like, the results should be ready. She leaves the room. He starts with his, are you sexually active? When was the last time you had, your menstrual cycle? Is it possible that you're pregnant? And so this whole time while he's asking those questions, she's folding forward and leaning back and leaning forward and coming back.
Oh, so she's kind of like rocking, trying to find just on her own a comfortable position, but the bed itself basically stays the same.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like if I lay like this, I'm warmer, but if I lay like this, I'm cold. But now, right? And who is she telling me when this information?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't remember. Hold on. I'm bringing it up. Because I did just do the revision, so I'm like, please tell me I'm not giving you old information. Here's the updated script, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so sexually active. She leans back against the recline. This is only 3 pages, by the way. It is a scene. Leans back against the reclined bed. He flits across the paperwork like IT, about to recommend unplugging and replugging it back in. Sexually active. It's because she's pain drunk. So her responses are very like, I don't know, snippy. No, snippy is not a great word for it. But so like when him asking, are you sexually active? She's like, just because I'm wearing a gown doesn't mean I want to go dance. And like, she's not in her right mind. She's not giving straight answers. So the question was, is she going back and forth? Or how is she asked? I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Who is she talking to? Who is she telling about her pain?
The doctor. Yes, the doctor.
At what point is she saying I'm in pain? And if I move like this, then I don't feel pain. But if I move like this, now I'm cold. Does she say those two things to anybody?
Mm-mm. Yeah, it starts with the friendly nurse giving the doctor the information, and she's kind of correcting the information as it's coming out. So, young woman, mid-30s, hey, just 30. Not mid-30s, just 30. Entered complaining of severe lower abdominal pain, like 5-alarm fire truck, fire chili. Like, she's trying to give context to the literal information. But the last thing is exactly how much pain do I have to be in to get pain relief? Because she's been there a while. Although, to your point, I think she's only ever just responding. I think that's the first time she really just says, like, I'm here for pain relief. I'm going to stop because I feel like the next recommendation you have is for her to actually verbalize what we're seeing.
Well, I mean, look, you have to set your game, right? You have to set up, when it comes to comedy, you got to tell your audience here's how it's supposed to be. And then here's why it's going to be different. And that's what's going to make it funny. Right. Mm-hmm. And so you have to set their expectation. And the reason why things are funny usually is because they subvert our expectation. Mm-hmm. So, but the only way to do that is for her in a situation like this, like probably what I would do is I would start the scene with her and the nurse, and the nurse finishes getting her in her gown, and it's like, and you set up top that she's, the pain is making her feel crazy. Do you want your gown open or closed? Open, no, close. Oh God, now I'm cold. No, oh God, now I'm hot, right? That you want to set that her comfort is very, very fragile, right? Do you want to lay this way or that way? You have the nurse with the thing playing with the hospital bed. Up, this much, no, that hurts now. Back, no, that hurt. No. Okay, this is perfect. As long as I'm here, right, in this position with my gown looking like this, the blankets looking like this for the audience, as long as everything looks like this, I am now comfortable. Phew. Doctor comes in and everything he does is going to frustrate that one. Everything. So she wants to be comfortable. That's what she wants in that scene. Yes, she wants him to stop being such a dick. Sure. Right. That's a side game. But what she really wants is she wants to be free of pain. She's not going to get the pain relief. Not yet. So she has to get the most pain relief in the moment that she can. So if you set what that looks like to the audience up,
Mm-hmm.
it would be when she's not getting it. So now when the doctor is being like, are you sure you're not pregnant? Then you kind of understand that, like, for instance, are you sure you're not pregnant? And she moves to be like, how do you, right? What do you mean I'm not, right? Fuck. And now we see, she was comfortable. She was not in pain. He pissed her off. And now she's kind of she's in conflict with herself. Do I tell this man to go fuck off, or do I stay without pain? And now the pain that he's causing her by being such a dick, we see the manifestation of that. Because every time he says something crazy and she goes to tell him off, she causes herself pain.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you have like the crazy, then all of her responses, you heighten her responses. So at first she's kind of clear-headed. Yes, doc. When he comes in, yes, this and this, because she's at that level of comfort when he first comes in. And then as soon as let him say something crazy, you don't even have to really ramp it up, because you're playing off the dynamic of a insensitive male doctor and a middle-aged woman. So he's gonna immediately probably say some dumb shit. But you want to set the game. and then she but you want to measure her reaction. She doesn't have to go to 10. She just has to try to, now the game is, I got to stay in this comfortable position. Every time he says something crazy, I have to try to not react, because if I react, if I move, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I get emotional, then now I'm in pain again.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So now every time, the more he's just doing his job. Give him the normal questions that he would ask. He's not asking crazy questions. To me, the comedy is that the normal questions he's asking are ridiculous, especially when you have someone in pain. How many times do you exercise? If you don't give me some fucking morphine, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that. Like, how many are you a smoker? If none of this matters, do you think you might be pregnant? I don't know. Do you think I might have sex? Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Baby, go get me some morphine, right? And make it very clear that she's asking for the thing. Like she has to be clearly telling him, I would like pain medication, and he has to clearly be in the way of that, right?
Yeah.
And then you build her response, so that his questions are normal, but her responses to those questions get bigger and bigger and bigger. So then you could play the physicality of, the first thing is, do you exercise? She moves a little bit and realizes, okay, I gotta hold back. I don't want to go off on him because that causes me pain. But then he says something else and she's like, oh, right. And then you can kind of like, now you're heightening what he's asking and the reaction that it causes in her. And the more he is a insensitive male doctor, the angrier she gets, the more she moves, the more she causes herself pain. Right. And then you kind of have the nurse come in and out as the thing that can reset the game for you, so that you can play the relief of, no, 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 what are you doing? Okay, no, she has to stay just like this. And the audience is like, oh, okay, somebody that makes some sense, right? And
Yeah, I
then
like that a lot.
keep the nurse in there a little bit to answer some questions for her, right? And you're like, oh God, thank God someone's helping this woman. But then now the nurse gets called out. Oh, fuck. And here he goes again. And now you're back off to the races. And you do that maybe 3 times. And then you have a nice out, have a nice blow, and you're good.
Yeah, man.
That's how you play all the games you want to play.
I love that. And as you were talking, I'm like, yep. But it solved one very big problem for me because for a while I've been preaching the SNL joke format, which is AB3 exclamation point, right?
What is
So A is the beginning or the setup of a joke, right? We know what to expect, and the next action that happens in that joke is the next logical step in order to confirm what you think you know, right? But then 3 means it's the next logical step, but we're going slightly askew. And all of that's leading up to the major askew, which is the exclamation point where you just go for broke. The example that they give for SNL joke writing is like the elevator. And so whatever the odd couple is getting onto that elevator, in this case, I think it was like a Halloween episode where it was like normal person and someone in costume, right? And then they get to the next level and it's somebody else in costume. And so it makes sense that we're going to have like a motley crew. And, something's happening on this building. I'm sorry?
Is this the Tom Hanks, the Tom Pumpkin or Paulus Pumpkin or something?
I think it may have been.
Oh, yeah. Great sketch. So I've never heard of that. I came up through UCB and I feel like the way I learned that really, really helped me because I was writing on the Boondocks already, and then UCB came out here, and I had a friend from film school that was doing classes and learning Herald and all of that stuff. And so I wanted something to help me, like, I don't know, if I can learn a skill, I'm gonna, if I do something, and I can learn it as a skill set, then I'm gonna do that. And so I started taking sketch comedy and then eventually improv. And it just kind of gave me like a nice little approach to scenes, to anything, right? It's micro macro. So the way I see it, and it sounds like it's very similar to what is his name? Is it like, it's Pumpkins, something Pumpkins. I'm David Pumpkins. It's very silly and it's very funny. And so
Matt, are you looking it up?
David S. Pumpkin.
David S. Pumpkins.
From the Haunted Elevator, SNL.
And but the way I learned was you set the game. So you start with like, just, this is the normal thing. This is your setup, right? And then there's an unusual thing. The unusual thing is the thing that you think is funny. What's the unusual thing that's going to happen? And then once you find that unusual thing, you kind of go back to normal, but then you got to hit that unusual thing again. It has to happen again, right? And I believe it's 2 times makes a pattern, right? So then you want to hit it again, but every time you hit that unusual thing, you want to heighten it. So you want it to get more and more unusual. And so, and then there's little things in that, like as you, I think, like, you find kind of like that's like, I guess, the basis of it. But then there's also, like I was talking about, a side game, like, but that's how you find the game of a sketch. It's just like, what is the unusual thing? We call it beat the hell out of the game. So let's just hit that unusual thing over and over and over again. Right. It's kind of like the guiding, I don't know, like, you just hit that. It really helps where you're clear on what everybody is trying to do. And it's all, again, micro, macro. It's all the same when you're writing, not comedy, right? You set the world for your audience. They know this is what it's supposed to be. Here's the crazy thing that's happening. That's our catalyst, our inciting incident. right? And now we're just that inciting incident incited all these fucking incidents that makes things worse, 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 worse.
Yeah.
Until, you know, it's better. So
Yeah,
it's
but I think
all the same.
the problem you just solved for me that was so brilliant was that you closed the loop to make the thing that was special, to make it the action towards another character instead of around another character. And that for me, I was like, oh, of course, that makes it so much better. Like, because now her action's towards the doctor instead of around the doctor.
Well, you know, it always helps for your characters to know each other. It always helps for everybody wants something. That doctor just wanted to get through his list of shit. Right. And so she just wants pain meds. And so you frustrate the want, right? He really wants to get through that list. So everything she does when she's like fucking going off and not answering the question directly, that's frustrating his want. Now he's getting frustrated. And that fuels the scene. She really wants pain meds. Every question he asks is going to be more annoying. That's frustrating her want. Right. And then don't let anybody get a hold of the remote to the bed. Oh my God. Right? Like he's pissing her off. She's jumping off the bed. The nurse is coming in trying to make her comfortable. That's going up and down while right. And now you add that other element. So now you have a whole other thing. And it's I Love Lucy. It's fun chaos. And then the scene is over and you just kind of figure out like what's the fun way to end that. And maybe she vomits on his shoes because the nurses come in and then trying to make her comfortable again and trying to find the perfect setting. She's just trying to help. That's what she's trying to do, right? She just keeps moving the bed up and down, and that's making it worse, and that's making her dizzy. The doctor's still frustrating her. He's still not giving her pain medication.
I love that so much.
Thrown up on his shoes. And he's like, okay, let me see about some meds. And that could be your blow.
I love this so much. And I'm absolutely going to give you a special thanks if I have any say in the credit for this little workshop. But at the very least, as a thank you, I would like to just stop and say, like, guys, this was for anybody who was watching live or even as part of the recording, y'all, Yamara does this, right? She is also a consultant. So you should get a piece of this from her. In fact, Matt, would you do me a favor? Yes, throw up that website. Y'all, go to her website right now, right? This is yamarataylor.com. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Find her. Let her help you make your stuff funny because that was brilliant. For me, that was so good. Thank you so much. So make sure that you guys check out her consulting and sign up with her today.
Thank you. Sign up, guys. I would love to help. That's my favorite thing. And I'm gonna be honest, like the reason I was asking about the director program is because you should be in it. And so it bothered me that you were saying that you were trying to get in and you couldn't get in because you haven't done quote unquote enough or whatever. But I would like to speak directly to that program and say, let her in it. She's directing everything. And also, here's the thing. How do we learn if we don't get a chance to learn?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the beginning of your career where it's like, oh, you need an agent. How am I going to get an agent if I don't have any work? Can't get any work if I don't have an agent.
Yup.
It's so dumb.
I'm right there with you. Wait, no. Okay. Feel like we're going to make this a 1-2 punch because I feel like there's a story behind your own representation and finding it. But to that end, I don't know if that ties into any victories you've had lately, because I do like helping my guests celebrate their victories because, in my opinion, part of the reason we started the victory round is sometimes we spend so much time as creatives focusing on the things we didn't do right and trying to correct them instead of taking a moment and celebrating the things that align with our values so we can build on them. So yeah, if there's something that really made you proud this past week or just recently that you want to celebrate, what comes to mind and what can I help you celebrate?
Well, I was very excited about doing the Stage 32 webcast.
Yeah.
That was fun. I think anytime I get an opportunity to just talk about work and creative stuff and you know, how I can help other people figure out their thing, it's the most fun. It just is like, I really like it. I love being in a writer's room. It's my favorite place to be. So that I also like, I don't know, like I've been, I'm figuring out social media. And so I've been like my niece, Jalen, shout out Jalen. She won't tell me where she is on social media because she has like all these like secret accounts. She will not. She's like, because we shamed her very early in the internet. Like we didn't know any better. She was on Twitter. We were like, what is this? The world sees you. And as a family, we handled it all wrong. And now she was like, y'all will never see me online. Never. But she's been helping me. My daughter Reagan has been helping me on TikTok. And I made like a couple of videos. And I'll say that that's a victory.
Yeah.
And I closed a deal.
What? You know, no big deal. Just closing a deal.
I
Girl,
know.
that's like 3 victories in one. Let's.
Cheers, I
right?
totally forgot. I
Cheers.
closed the deal. Thank you.
Wait, so are you allowed to talk about the deal at all?
I think so. Yeah. Well, it's a pilot deal with Hulu that for a show I'm doing called London Boys in the Hood with my friend Samson Ko. He is a Nigerian British man. He's in Formula One. Go see it.
Yes.
Does fancy stuff. He's very funny. He did a bunch of sketch comedy. He has like a BAFTA. And he's like so great. And so we're writing a show together just about his him coming to LA to be an actor and make all his dreams come true, which is what he did. And also he's best friends with like all these super like famous people already, like Michaela Cole and Damson Idris and Daniel Kaluuya. They're like,
Wow.
it just makes me laugh so much when, I don't know. I just think it's funny when I ask someone like, oh, and then who do you know out here? And he's like, lists all these people. I'm like, oh my God, you're fine. All your best friends you're fine. But he came up with all these. So it's cool. Like, so we're going to write that together. I'm really excited.
Yay!
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It's fine. It's fine.
You know what, though? I'm glad that you actually made like a social victory and like, you know what I mean? Like a personal victory and a professional victory. Because I feel like it was in your heart to say first because maybe it was harder. Harder. Yeah.
I don't know.
I just want to celebrate the fact that you are doing hard things as well as doing things you are excited for, certainly, but like you need them, but you didn't need social media and you did it anyway. So yeah, cheers to that, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, social media is hard, but Gen Z, man, they got it. I love Gen Z. My favorite generation. They're so smart. I love them. They're great.
And Matt, I don't even know what generation you are, but thank you for being here, sir, because
Cusper.
What's your generation?
I guess technically elder Gen Z, but it's 2000. I was born in 2001. I'm 23, so I'm right on the edge. Like I grew up with iPods and VHS and roll down windows, and like all of that. But also like my first phone was an iPhone 4S, and I've never had social media, but that was like my parents' thing. That wasn't like a my choice thing. So shout out my parents for probably making the best decision for me.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I always feel weird when I say I'm a Gen Z because people think that I like ate Tide Pods and like tried to trade Jewel Pods in the bathroom. But like, I never did that in high school.
What is the cutoff?
I'm sorry?
What's the cutoff for Gen Z? Because sometimes I feel like there'll be some millennials that be trying to get into Gen Z, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I've heard that the cutoff is anywhere from like 96 to 2000 is where like that start is. So like I guess I'm definitely like a Gen Z, but also, like I said, I just don't relate to a lot of Gen Z because that goes through like, I'm 23, so that goes through like current 15-year-olds, It's like I just don't relate to
So,
the 15-year-olds that like have strictly grown up through COVID, Like
yeah,
that's not me. I
you
I
relate to millennial, like is
yeah, like that's why I said like I'm a cusper. Like
we're
I'm
millennial.
yeah, I'm a zennial. Ooh, I'm a zennial. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
man, you
know,
got so
man.
sassy.
I don't I don't pay attention to these labels. I just live. Every
I know
generation
you do
thinks that
because
it's
you
the
got that red hair and those black earrings. I know you just live.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's
Your
didn't
hair matches the dice behind you. I know
yeah,
you live.
that's new. That just came in today. Thank
We
you.
were
I,
just
Yeah.
talking about how it like blows out in the background, so it actually does better when it's not lit up. But it looks
Yeah, I can put it
very on
on,
brand.
but it's not great.
that's that's cool. Because
Thanks.
now it looks like a dice. Like
Yeah.
that's dope.
Yeah.
Well,
It's pretty cool. I got it from
I
Dave and Buster's.
oh, so you're the one that buys the Dave and Buster's furniture line, their home decor.
Yeah, I can. I like
Did you win it?
yeah, I want it.
Oh, okay. That's
I'm
how many tickets did that cost?
like 2,000.
Is that a lot?
It's not small.
Did you have like one game? Was that like a one gamer or were you?
It was like a summer because they would have like half priced off Wednesdays or whatever, like $5 Wednesdays. And like being a junior and senior in high school, I didn't have much else to do, much else to spend $5 and $10 on. So like just it Dave and Buster's wasn't like super close, but it was close enough where I could go to it. And then honestly, I played a lot of Guitar Hero at Dave and Buster's, which doesn't give tickets. But it's because they don't have Guitar Hero on like normal consoles anymore. I'm trying to think if there's one game in particular. No, not really. I do a lot of the reaction ones. I'm good at like trying to stack the blocks like right on top of each other or like dropping balls into like a constantly moving hole or whatever. But I was never good at like skee ball or or like shooting games of that type.
I just I I learned. I was talking to a video game developer
Mhm.
and trying to give context about how little I know about video games. And I was like, I realized like my whole like video game, like I guess my jam is work games, but I
Oh.
didn't realize it until I got my daughter an Xbox and there was a game called moving or move out or movers or something.
Mhm.
And in the game, this lady has to pack up somebody's house and move it. And you have a certain amount of time. You got to pack all the stuff in the moving truck before, and you can't break anything. And if you break stuff, right, then, and it's stressful. And I was like, I've never once made it through one house without breaking anything. And I always failed. And then I was like, how come all the games I play are work games that stress me out? Because I also played Diner Dash, that game where you have to run a restaurant and you got to get people seated and make all their food and serve them before they get mad. And it's different levels of anger. Like there's like a sassy black lady that comes in and she means business and she gets mad faster than the old dude. You know what I mean? And it's like they just sit there waiting and then they get little steam comes out their head. And I'm like, oh yeah. Like in real life, I'm like this, like my shoulders are up to my ears.
Yeah.
And just like, please, please. And I was like, why? I can do anything on a video game. Anything. I could be anybody. I could do anything. And I'm like, I know what I'll do. I'll work hard
Yup.
and fail at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never any of those games.
I like trophy hunting in video games. So like I try to like fully complete everything, get all the characters and weapons and whatever. And there's a mantra in the gaming community that's I just play games to stress myself out.
Yeah.
Like you're right. I could be playing any fantasy video game. I could be doing whatever I wanted with my time right now. And instead I've spent the past 3 hours constantly dying to the same boss. Like I am just getting more pissed off at myself and at the game. And yet I continue to hit respawn.
One
And
more time.
I don't know why. Like, why do I find being stressed out fun?
Yeah.
But I guess to some extent I do.
I don't play. I don't play anything anymore. Thank
Yeah.
God.
Why not?
I don't think about it. Like I have to.
Mm.
I got like one of those. I may have given it to my nephew. One of those like little old school Nintendo,
Yeah.
boxes or some shit. It was like $50. I think I got it during COVID or something where you could play all the old games. It was like Zelda, Mario Brothers. And I like played it a little and tried to set it up the way I did as a kid. Where it was like I would listen to rap music and play video games because that's what my brothers did. They would play Sonic Hedgehog, listen to video games and play video games and listen to rap music. And then when they would leave, I would just do that because I was like, this is cool. Yeah. So I was listening to a lot of at the time it was a lot of Snoop Dogg. And I remember the Doggy Style album had come out. And I was like rapping along to everything, like 13, 14, playing Sonic, dying, playing again, dying. Didn't even know how to play, but I was just like, I was like, I'm cool now. Then they would come in like, get the fuck out of my room. I'm like, yo, okay, well, that was nice. What are you guys doing now? So I tried to recreate that. Like, why would I want to recreate that in my home? But I did. Kicked myself out of my home. Gotta get the fuck out. Like, yep, okay. It's my nephew. I was like, why? And now I have this Xbox over here that I got for my daughter, and I got it during COVID. And then I figured out you could get a skin on it. So I got a gold skin because I'm all gold, see? And got a gold skin, and there's a gold remote, and it's all, nobody plays it except my 9-year-old nephew Worth. Nothing is updated. I don't know what that boy is playing, but he's like, I see, can I play? Yep, go ahead. I don't know what the password is. I don't know how to play. Literally, this boy comes over here all the time. Somehow, every time he comes over, it's, how do I plug in the Xbox? I don't know. You got, like, we do the same dance, and you would think somebody would either remember or mark the HDMI cable, but every time, it's the same series of, Reagan, can you set up the Xbox? I don't know what cord it is. I think it's this. Like, they set for half an hour. And then he plays Madden. And it's like, thanks, Auntie. And then he's outro.
That's great.
That's great.
That's video games in my house.
I'm a strategy game player, and I feel like there needs to be, how there's like Alcohol Anonymous. I think there needs to be like Strategy Games Anonymous, because it is, when you realize what you're playing when you're playing it, the through line is very disturbing. So, for example, because I was raised on PC games, right? Carmen Sandiego was the thing everybody played because you could play it in the library, right? Like you're like, I'm done checking up my books, I'm done reading Carmen Sandiego. You know what I'm talking about, right? You were
that like you were being a badass. Like, oh, done with my books, time to play Carmen. Mom and Dad don't know.
I kinda, because it wasn't available on like my home computer. I think the only thing I had on my home computer was like Minesweeper, and then I found out later because I got really good at Minesweeper, like really good. Like I spent a summer in middle school, maybe just before middle school, basically figuring out the difference between the left click, the right click, and then the double click, which allows you to kind of discover what's around a particular location, and then just getting faster and faster and faster at it until I was like at the expert time. Yeah, I just got obsessed. However, then I found out that the purpose of Minesweeper was to train people on how to use a mouse. And I was like, motherfucker.
Well, it worked. You learned.
It worked.
Why are you mad?
Because that's all it was going towards. It wasn't like some sort of existential, I'm learning something more. I'm literally just being trained like a little mouse on a wheel. Ugh.
But I would say more than me trying to do Diner Dash, you learned a skill that you could bring out. Because I bet you are sick on a mouse. Like I bet you click. Like, I already know. You click something real quick. Mouse it up real quick.
I mean,
Mouse it up.
there's so little stuff here. Look, so here's the code, right?
Oh,
Make sure that you can check out our production value.
okay.
Here's the link so you can do production value.
Did you
And
click
oh,
it?
by the way, yeah, this is all just stuff that we have on demand to make sure that people can, right?
What's up with that right click? You doing a right click or what is that?
You know, right click is so unnecessary now, which is probably why I went back to PC, because the moment you go onto an Apple, they don't effing care about a right. That's why they put everybody on I hate trackpads. That's why they put everybody on a trackpad, because they don't need the right click anymore. They only need a single click or a double click. And I'm like, y'all, you have no functionality.
I am fully Apple. I got to be honest. Everything I do is on an Apple. I eat apples.
I mean, I eat apples too.
Full ecosystem.
I'm in. I like going to the Big Apple. I'm in.
Oh, I'm there with you. Man, I miss New York. Although, to be fair, I feel like I can stay in New York. I don't feel like I could live in New York. And I really wanted to at one point, because I stupidly tried to apply for the Columbia University MFA program. And then as I was going through the application process, they literally want to know your assets.
Wait, why
you have
it?
Oh, just because they're like requirements, and the classes are really small. And then, of course, I didn't think it was stupid at the time because of how well I did in film school the first time. I thought it was stupid as I was applying for it, because part of what they were pushing for was, because it's an MFA, you had to have basically enough money to sustain you, because you were not going to have time to work. So you had to have like 2 years of living expenses readily available, or someone who was going to be paying for you. And it was like,
oh, you mean stupid as in, oh, I didn't know this was a hustle.
Yeah. I didn't know that this was a pay to enter Ivy League. Oh, okay. It's like, they're not even hiding it. It's in the application.
Wow.
Okay. So what happened? So you didn't go there?
Oh yeah, no. And honestly, I stopped pursuing the master's when I got to LA, because I was like, this is my master's. Being in LA and learning from people here is my master's program. Hell, that 20-minute whatever breakdown that you did for me was fucking brilliant. And that for me, that was a master's workshop in 20 minutes. That was great.
I never wanted to get my master's. I don't know. I think I get it. Like I get why people do it. And also I think I always was like, I don't want to be in school more.
Yeah.
Like,
There is that.
you know, like I just would like to go out and do stuff. And then when I was coming up, they were always like, you know, those who can't teach or something. Like, I just always heard you get your master's in film if you want to teach film.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't want to teach film, so I'm not going to push off working in film.
Yeah.
Just take longer.
And I think that's the other reason I decided not to pursue my master's, was because right before I moved to LA, I feel like I told this to you, so stop me if I've told you before. Right before I moved to LA.
Everybody to hear it. Can you imagine if I was like, no? Like, they would be like, but what did she say? No, you said it.
I feel like that's fair. I could just be like, cool, long story short, I totally taught teenagers and it was awesome, but I also can't do it right now because I have things to say. That's so short of it. Like, and say that one more time. I'm sorry.
And I want them deets.
Okay, so the deets. After 2 years of being in television, I was like, I don't know that what I'm looking for is here, because so much of it is gig work. Even though there's staff positions available, they're so few and far between. And the programs that are available in DC are not narrative. They're all like documentary and I got to tell you, when I was in high school, I was in martial arts and theater, and I was in martial arts because I thought I was going to be in law enforcement. And by the end of high school, I was like, that is not for me. Because in my mind, I was going to be like Beverly Hills Cop or like Lethal Weapon, where I can use my ingenuity to actually solve things. And then I got into like co-op, and they're like, oh, no, we don't want you to actually think differently or be different. And I was like, oh, so those rule breakers are only in narrative films.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So
Cool.
you're like, write myself into as a detective, and then I could be a detective.
Exactly.
There you
I could
go.
do that role.
Yeah.
So flash forward, I'm now in television working on true crime docuseries where I'm looking at like, you know, dead bodies and researching cases. And I'm like, okay, there is another reason I got out of this. And it's because that shit's really hard on my heart. And I can't, this isn't where I'm meant to be. So when this opportunity came up I was literally going to helm an academy program at a public high school, and it's in Maryland. So for me, it speaks to everything that I love, right? Especially about the DC area. Like, we're diverse, we're international, right? They're teaching IB film. And of course, it wasn't just film, it was also broadcast journalism. So now we're actually spanning the range of, you have to learn what's real before you try to depict what's imaginative, right? Yep, my brain can totally come up with words.
I was fine with imaginating.
Yay!
I get it.
And look, I think for a lot of other people, it would have been torturous. And there are aspects that are definitely really hard. Like, the administrative is not built to support teachers, full stop. The only thing harder than production is being a high school teacher. However, being there allowed me to have really hard conversations with the people who needed to have them. I remember one in particular student, and man, did he make my face hot, because he's a good student. But I remember saying, we were doing a news segment, and during this news segment, everybody had their little part. And so what I said to him was, I need you to figure out the scrolling credits in order to finish the segment. And he's like, well, it sounds like you need me more than I need you. And I was like, ooh.
How old was he?
16, teenager.
What did you do instead?
So I walked away for a minute because I was like, I'm not going to let him draw me into his drama. I need to figure out what actually needs to be said here. So I cooled off, thought about it, came back, and I was like, look, I'm here. It took like 2 full minutes, but I needed it because I was like, not gonna slap a student, not gonna do it.
Who is this student? Like, that had you really like, I gotta calm down. Like, was he often this sassy?
No, and that's what got me, is because there are so many other sassy students. I mean, teenagers, come on. But there are so many other sassy students in that class, and he is not normally one of them. The issue is, he is intelligent and he is hardworking, which means by the time he gets to that moment of like talk back, I'm like, something else is going on here and I don't know what it is. So I had to take a beat and be like, this isn't your normal thing. But also, because it's not your normal thing, your clap back actually means something. Right? So I don't know what it means, but here's how I'm going to lay down the law so you understand what's at stake. And I was like, look, I'm here to mimic real world circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as part of that, if you had just said this to your employer, and because the other part of what he said was like, this is what I want to do, as opposed to what you're asking me to do. And I was like, that's great. There's the door.
What did he want?
He just wanted to do some like sports segment or something. He was like really excited about like some sort of montage or something. I don't even remember what it was, because I was like, here's the deal. Any fair-minded boss would be like, if you present it as yes and, I will let you do both because I want more from you. But if you say no to the thing I've hired you to do, then I will show you the door because you have not shown me that you can faithfully deliver. And I said, and this is just the way of the world. You have to eat your veggies before you get dessert. So show me that you can do the work and then tell me what you want to do in addition. And guess what? I'll let you do it. And that's it worked. It so works. And I love those moments because I feel like it applies to adults too.
Oh yeah, dude. No, everybody wants to do what they want to do. Everyone wants to do what they want to do when they want to do it. Yeah. And part of being an adult is like the fun of realizing sometimes you can. And part of being the adult is the disappointment of realizing that sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
It's like when I realized, like, oh man, I can't have cereal for breakfast. I mean, for lunch, for dinner. Moments where I'm like, why not?
Yep.
Who's gonna stop me? Like, I can't have it all day.
And thank you, by the way, for letting me ramble into that story, because I don't remember what the original question was, but I feel like you've given me permission to just go on a tangent and find the gold on the way. So thank you.
I told you you got to do a podcast with me. Welcome to my podcast.
So, hey, there's a thing called Substack, and I want to hear your answer about, like, have you heard of it? And would you be interested in doing a podcast on Substack? Because apparently that's where writers like us go.
So, literally yesterday, I don't know what made me do it. Maybe because this was coming up and you were going to ask me this. I started to set up a Substack.
Yes.
And was like, and it asked for a bio. And I was like, fuck. And then that's why I said earlier, bios are hard. Like, everything is top of mind for me. Like, it's like going into therapy with the thing that you just got mad about. That's how I live my life. Yep. So no, I was setting it up, and then I've never been on it. I don't know anything about it, but I was like, oh, maybe I'll poke around. And then in just kind of like poking around, not on anybody's thing, like, but just kind of looking when you go to literally go into the website and be like, sign up, like whatever that page is. That's all I did. And then I just got stuck because ADHD, I got stuck on bio. And then I was like, well, what am I offering? What am I, right? Like, do I do the bio with credits? That's annoying. But then how do they know who I am? Like, that's all the stuff about social media. When it comes to doing like anything like that has to do with, like, I guess like career stuff, I'm always just like, where? Because that's not, I got into this game to go sit in a room with funny people and tell silly jokes, right? And tell story, but so there was no all of this, like, like I was using Instagram as like a photo album. My daughter is cute, and then it was like, no, that's your resume. I was like, what? I made a resume. I was like, oh my God. So, because the industry is changing, everything is different. So got to change with it, baby. Welcome to my podcast.
I love it. I feel like we're going to break story on your podcast right here. This little guy has just been meowing at you the whole time.
Have you ever been to Cat Island?
No.
Did you know it existed?
No.
Cat Island is on, I can't remember what island it's on, maybe Lanai. We went when we went to Maui, you take a little ferry to island, and there's like a bunch of burnt down like pineapple fields and stuff.
Oh my God.
And you drive, they pick you up from the ferry, they pick you up, and you'll know everybody that's going to this cat sanctuary because they're all middle-aged ladies talking about cats and wearing cats, got on a cat shirt and cat earrings and a cat hat. And they're on the way in the van talking about their cats and excited about the cats. I took my daughter as a surprise, and she loves cats. And so we're both deathly allergic to them. I did not even touch cats. Like, I can't touch a cat. She tries to power through. She cried when we got her allergy diagnosis. Like, I will, if you want to try to murder me, you put some cat dander and spray that shit on me and I will immediately die. So anyway, Cat Island is a sanctuary. They have a sanctuary where there's like, I want to say, is it 700 cats? It's some crazy amount of cats. And they take all the cats that are on the island, all the strays. And then they have different sections. So they have like young cats, and they have, old cats. And then you go and you give them food, and they run around, and then you go home, you go back.
Like a little petting farm, but just for kitties.
It's a petting zoo, yeah. And you can, yeah. And so I made content when I went, and I just pointed to the cat, that's a cat.
That's the best way to go, because you can still have that relationship with a cat without, dying. How long did that Claritin even last you, man? Like,
being outdoors helps. Like I have to get fresh air, but I that shit will in a heartbeat. I found out that my cat allergy my whole life was masking my asthma.
no.
Yeah, dude, cats are great. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why so many people are allergic to cats. Like, it feels like we would be like, what's up with that?
I agree. I feel like, first off, part of that question has to come up because there are lots of environmental and food allergies that only really exist in the United States. My old boss, from my first television job, she was originally from India. Her child was born here, though. She's never really had any food or environmental allergies. Her child, however, being born here, as she's gotten older, has been accruing more and more allergies. And she could, like, on a short list, pick out all the things that we do commonly here that easily poison us, right? Like, she refused to microwave plastic across the board. Didn't matter what kind of plastic. She's like, well, you're probably okay with clear plastic, but I'm not going to chance it. So she only ever used Pyrex. Never would do plastic in a microwave. And I'm like, so you never do microwavable meals? Because they're all in plastic. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Trader Joe's has some of those paper ones.
Microwave.
Yeah. It's like, it's an American staple. She's like,
me and Ray went to get our like allergy tests, and they poke your back with all they put out stuff in your back. So they did her back, and then they did my back, and then if you're allergic, then you'll start getting the itchies, and you'll be like, ooh, this hurt, right? And then they come back in and they look and see, like, based on what reactions you've had on your back, what you're allergic to. My garbage man is here. The doctor came in.
Sorry about that. I knew the cat was going to do it. Go ahead.
The doctor came in, looked at Reagan's back, and was like, oh, okay. Turned around, looked at my back. I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
He jump scare, seeing how allergic to he was like, how are you alive?
Oh my God.
I was like, what? And my whole back was like this scene in where's that movie where Will Smith had the mosquito on his back and didn't know, and it was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger because it was sucking all his blood.
Oh. I was thinking of Hitch with his eye, but that's not on his back.
I was like, he went back in time. I can't remember the movie. Land of the Lost. But he was, oh my God, what? And I was like, is it bad? Higher red. I was like, it's kind of itchy. Whole back, bright red, welts everywhere.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now all I can think is, where's that scene? Write that scene. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Gold. Before I forget, how much longer do I have you? Because I wanted to at least share a quick victory of mine and then kind of head into something a little more serious.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll make the long story short. Our team had our kickoff meeting this week because Story Math is the workshop I've been doing for like the past year. And we just did a kickoff meeting to working up towards the release of the book, because you can only do a workshop so many times, and I really want there to be like a book and a course out into the world so that it can sell while I'm doing other things. So yeah, the countdown begins, and I'm not saying I'm a commitment phobe. What I'm saying is it's easy for me to like go in, do a thing, and leave. By the way, that is my MO with gaming. Like, I play Age of Empires, which is why I think there should be an alcohol anonymous for, or strategy games anonymous, because when you realize that winning includes hearing the screams of the people you're conquering, yeah, there's just a part of your brain going, oh, no. But I can go in and win in an hour. And if we put it on hard and I play with like a partner, I'm almost always the person who survives over the partner. Like, they build the wall. They die because they're part of the wall. I go in with my army and siege, and I end up winning the day. Anyway, the point here is,
I'm a
I'm a,
strategy game. I thought this whole time you were talking about like Tetris.
yeah, no.
Oh.
Strategy happens in a lot of different ways, including Tetris. So I do a version of that. But no, strategy can also be like one side versus the other side, which one's going to win. And that God's eye view works really well for me because then I can see all the moving parts. I really hate first-person shooters. It makes me dizzy. Anyway, sorry. So the purpose of this victory is to say, I'm committed, I'm focused, I'm finishing strong, and I'm really grateful for my team to be here with me as I'm launching this thing. I'm building this thing, and I've never been a builder before. I've always been an emergency worker, right? Like producers, that's kind of what we do, right? Something goes wrong and we're like, I'm going to fill in the gaps to make sure that we can actually stick the landing.
But tell me more about what you're building.
Sure. Okay, so story math is basically a premise that when you're creating something from scratch, there are two approaches in order to flesh it out. The first approach is very much an algebra-based mindset, right? You need an equation in order to expand. And you have to allow yourself to expand in order to whittle it down into a particular medium, right? Whether it's you're writing a novel or you're writing a feature or you're writing a series, doesn't really matter. As long as there's a protagonist and a beginning, middle, and ends, you have a story, right? But expansion is the first part of that. And the other part of that is very much the geometry mindset. And the geometry mindset, because it is a literal structure, helps you to kind of trim things off. It says that's not necessary for this model, but you need both. And part of what happens sometimes is that when you look at the analysis, which is that geometry, shows you that structure, and you try to just plug and play, you actually don't flesh it out enough because you're trying to get it to fit the model, right? And that's a lot of the disconnect between concept and final execution, is that if you go from concept to draft, you haven't given yourself enough time to really push into all the possible corners, right? To trim off the stuff that actually doesn't work and go, this is definitively what works, right? And it's fleshed out. And so part of the purpose of story math is to get you from concept to, I call it outline, but really it's treatment and then outline, so that you're giving yourself permission to create the anchors before you dive deep into the details of your story.
Okay. I should tell you that I'm bad at math. And I was in remedial math.
I think you would be really good at this math though, because it's super simple. It's super simple. And in fact, so for example, because I feel like the moment I said algebra, did your eyes glaze over?
If anybody ever says algebra, my eyes glaze. The reason my daughter went to the school that she went to was because they had an approach to math that made me cry during the orientation. Just during the tour, not even the orientation, during the tour. I was like, wait, what? That's not hard? Like, she's not going to feel stupid? I wept and was like, she has to go here. Like, and she's in pre-calc and got an A.
Wow.
Yes.
Calculus or something like that. Something. She's so good at it. And I was like, because she had I just was so bad at it that I just thought I was dumb. So math, and and then I have a brother who's really good at math. And so he does all my math for me.
Look, and there are different kinds of math, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm terrible at finance, but really good at accounting. Those are two different kinds of math that look the same, but they pretty much aren't, right?
That's the same thing.
Yeah. What? Okay. So the reason I think you would be good at story math is because, and I think you know this more than most, if story is built in contrast, then quite literally the math of any story is what is positive, what is negative, right? And in this moment, or between these two people, or even within this one person, what's positive and negative, right? If you're trying to determine a character's need before you move forward in the story at all, when we first meet them, what do they have, what they don't have? And when you look at those two things, you can go, right, positive, what do they have? Negative, what do they not have? It tells you what is driving their need, because that lack gives you that direction, right?
Yep.
Simple math. And then when you put it over time, and I think you see this more often than most, but like at the end of a scene, usually we have a victory and a loss, right?
Mhm.
Because that loss drives the next question. But we may also have a loss and a loss. We may also have a victory and a victory, right? Brings our stakes to a different place. So part of what I kind of stoke the fire for other people to explore is like, how much better could it be, right? How much worse could it be? And then is it right next to each other, right?
Uh-huh.
You will have that positive and negative right next, in the same person, in the same relationship, in the same scene. So yeah, story and when you're figuring that out, you do have known quantities, right? So
Mhm.
the algebra of it all is like, if I say x plus 5 equals 6, we know for sure that the answer is 6, right? We know for sure at the end of this film that she should tell the doctor, I'll name it after you, right? We know what the end should be, right?
Uh-huh.
And maybe we know another component, which is she should be cold on the back and pain in the front. But what's the first bit, right? And I think that's kind of what we solved, right? Which was, who is she really fighting? She wasn't really fighting the bed. She was fighting the doctor. Aha, right? Start with those known quantities, and then you can fill in
Okay.
for that variable.
Okay. All right. So that's how you approach story.
That's the at least breaking story, right? Because if you try and move too far forward into your draft and you don't have those anchor points, you will get story notes in your draft and not know how to address it without like going to a page one rewrite every time. And you shouldn't
Yeah.
have to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I look at writing as trying to put a bed sheet on
Ooh,
a fitted sheet on a bed.
I love this.
Sometimes you get one side on, but it makes the other side pop off. Gotta go over and fix that side.
Yes.
You gotta go put the other side on, but another side pops off. And then at some point you're like, all sides are down. Yes. But you're always like, oh damn it. Oh damn it.
Yeah.
I
No,
get it.
and
So, okay.
that brings up a really good point, because what happens if you think you have a known quantity, right? X plus 5 equals 6, but maybe you change something about the character. And when you change, let's say you change something about the want, and it changes something about the need by default of that, right? So now your 6 has become a 7.
Mhm.
If your corner pops up, all you have to do is just make sure you've checked the rest of that, what it affects of the decisions you've already made, right? Because if it changes to 7, then you got to change your X, right? You got to
Right.
change that variable. So I
Right.
think it falls in that same category of like, it's fine for it to change, but when it changes, honor what's anchoring it,
Uh-huh. Go back and yeah. It's like if you have a problem in Act 3, it's because your Act 1 is not working.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're okay. So
This is great.
you're doing that, and then off of that, you have a book, and you have. Tell me more.
Yeah, and the course. So originally, part of the reason I was doing it as a workshop was because I was actually doing it on my own projects, and then I was doing it with clients. And so part of the bid was you actually need human interaction to get that feedback to kind of figure out so that the corners don't pop off.
You need help putting a bed sheet on.
Yeah. But the truth is that like when you have to do your homework, like when you're actually sitting there and doing the algebra, right, and expanding in all directions, you can do that on your own. You don't actually have to do that with feedback. It's just when you get to the stopping place of like, okay, I've come up with like my 10 worst ideas, which one's the best bad idea? That's when you stop and go, hey, I could use some feedback now. And that's one of the reasons I feel comfortable kind of saying, okay, I'm gonna give you the guide, right? And I'm gonna give you the course so that it kind of holds your hand through the math of it. But then when you get to that outline, you still gotta check, right? You still got, check in with people. And what I'm hoping from my heart, deepest recesses of my heart, is that it starts to get more writers comfortable with the idea of writing story in that big picture form with as many details as possible, so that because we can make changes in 1 page or in 10 pages of an outline easier than making changes in 20, 30, 90 pages of a script.
Oh yeah, I don't give notes on scripts. I'm gonna give you notes on your outline.
Yeah.
I'll give you notes on your story area. But once you get to draft, dude, you're not changing shit. You like, who else can I get to read it? Because she said I have to change my whole act 2 and it's not happening. So I'm gonna have as many people read this that will tell me until it takes someone to tell me they like my act 2, and I just need to do a joke pass. It's not happening, buddy. Because I'm not gonna fight with you because you already have it written. I just don't. It's not, it's not helpful, and it's not fun. Talking story is fun. I want to do a class in a book. I have a book I want to do called "Rules That I Write By, But You Don't Have to." All my rules that I write by, but you don't have to.
That could be your Substack. That's what you write.
Yeah,
about.
that's a good Substack.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Oh man.
That one post what is the Substack? I don't know what a Substack is. Like
okay.
My Substack, I have no idea what they're talking about.
It's like the happiest combination of Twitter and or Threads and Instagram and YouTube, honestly, because you can post, so it has that same scroll effect, and most of those posts are very Twitter-like. And yes, I say Twitter instead of X because fuck X. I feel like someone's going to quote me on that and we're all just going to get in trouble. Whatever, here we are. So I think because of the ability to also post like pictures and inspirational and videos, like it is very Instagram that way as well. But the biggest appeal for Substack is having some sort of a newsletter, right? Or regular output of something higher quality, because that kind of thing you can actually ask for subscribers. But you can also do video. And when you do video, it can be anything from TikTok-like to actual like podcasts. And the reason I mentioned the podcast is because they have a live mode, right? Where you could do something like this on Substack and then just say, this is really just for this niche audience. And because it's just for this niche audience, you could put that behind your paywall as well, which is exciting because in the past, podcasts were only ever like sponsor driven. So you only ever really get money from your sponsors as opposed to your viewers. So it, for writers, it really gives you another chance to make money, whether it be from your newsletter or from your podcast.
So I can do my rules that I write by as a Substack newsletter and then do the podcast. Like do I do one rule per newsletter and then one podcast per newsletter per rule?
That I feel like this may be more evident.
I did it.
I'm a big fan of looking for templates. So I look for examples of other successful people and go, what did they do? So Audrey Knox is a great example for me. She used to be a manager with, who did she? Hold on. Audrey Knox. I just want to see her profile. LinkedIn, why are you being so mean? Audrey Knox. There we go. Okay, so she used to be a literary manager with The Cartel. Thank you. I was like that big manager place.
Oh my God.
But I'm not wrong about that, right? The Cartel is pretty well known.
I'm thinking about like The Cartel, like drugs and shit. I don't know.
Yeah, that was
I was
also
like,
my first
oh my God.
Good for her for getting out of that life.
Yeah, like she's on the straight and narrow. Good. Like me and Matt were like, her friends are hard. Like
no, it's a management company called The Cartel. But now she's a consultant, and part of what she offers to screenwriters is kind of those insights to, if you're looking for representation, this is the best way to set yourself up for success. And a lot of her stuff is like initially put on LinkedIn as kind of let's call it a freebie. That same freebie is available on Substack. And then I want to say there is newsletter, there is some sort of a workshop that she offers quarterly, because it takes like 8 weeks to go through it. And then I don't know if she does a podcast, but I feel like that would be another like level on the subscriber thing. Yes.
So you subscribe to her Substack and then you get the newsletter and the podcast or whatever she has.
Exactly. And they have different tiers, right? So like if your lowest level tier is full access to the newsletter, which comes with, you know, these free resources. And then this next level of the subscriber list might be, you know, be the first to get any of my, if you're giving away like worksheets for free or like anything that might later be in your book, like be the first to see new additions to my book, right? And then like the final tier might be like, we do this podcast and it's available to everybody, but you get to be backstage and ask your questions with our special guest before we go live, right? Something that makes it special. For me, it's hard for me to put the whole podcast behind a paywall because then how do you advertise, right? Like, because somebody's got to see it. But if you make your subscribers like the only ones who can really ask questions, now they have something special. So
is that the same Patreon?
It's probably very similar to Patreon. The only difference is Patreon is the payment platform, the membership platform, but it doesn't necessarily have the community building. So it doesn't necessarily have the posts or like the ability to have like posting videos like you would with TikTok. Whereas Substack has both of them together. So it has kind of the community building and it has the platform for subscriptions.
Have you heard of this thing called Intro?
Intro.
My best friend Tommy just sent me this thing called Intro. And it's like experts. You could do one-on-one consults and calls and stuff with experts. And I just saw that. I didn't sign up for it or anything, but I was like, oh, that's cool. And you can like block out, and it's like kind of like immediate. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, you have a 30-minute, we're going to jump on a video call versus like preparing for people.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of do it. Like I have moments in my day where I'm like writing and then I don't have anything. And then that would be a time where I guess I could be like, oh, take people if you have questions or whatever. I don't know what my brand is. I'm trying to figure out my brand. Matt, what's my brand?
Whatever you want it to be.
Me an hour and 48 minutes ago. That's nothing about me. Whatever I want it to be. I don't know what my brand is.
Can I tell you something real though? Because I feel like, in all honesty, I've been doing this workshop in some form for the last 9 months. And I've never had more than a handful of people sign up at any given point, but the content is great. And the people who attend love it and, you know, are willing to be testimonials for me, which is great. But it took 6 months into doing the workshop before figuring out the name Story Math. And it literally happened over a phone call trying to explain what I was doing to a friend. And interestingly enough, she also has ADHD. For the record, sometimes it's hard to be the anchor in a room with someone who has that kind of like branch intelligence, because following those threads can be really hard for me sometimes. But I also love being able to be challenged to figure out that language. So it's because of her dizzying intelligence that I actually had to come up with the term Story Math. And I went, fuck, that's a really great title. Now I'm going to have to change all of my marketing. Like it was not an immediate thing is all I'm trying to say. And so I think if you give yourself some grace to just like try a thing before you brand, you're going to find the brand on the way, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah. Because I have a habit of, you know, it's perfectionism where it's like, no, I have to have the thing before I do the thing. But then what I tell people is just do the thing and the thing will find you. But that's not what I do.
Yep. I know. I've been there. All right. I do want to, because I want to honor the rest of your day. I don't want to keep you too long, but also I want to make sure that you have a chance to like answer our final question. So I want to
Okay.
end our victory section by saying, yes, I am doing another story math workshop. It is going to be from this Saturday, which is June 28th. So Matt, if you want to let people know what that looks like. And I have a link. So if anybody is available and wants to join in, please, please, please get your tickets today, because today is the last day to get your tickets for half off. Oh, sorry, that is production value, not mine.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah, this is the wrong one.
That's me.
Oh,
Yay!
cute.
Thanks, man.
You look cute.
All right, so the link is there in the chat for you, but also, hey,
I want that link. Can you send me the link?
yeah, man, I'll get it for you.
Right.
I mean, at the very least, I would love for you to like see what I do and be like, hey, this could, any advice you have, I would totally take. But also, like, let's talk about like making a workshop as part of your Substack, because I will happily help you like
I want to do a
put a
workshop.
thing together. All right, so 50% off. Today is the last day, so make sure you click that link and get on the roster. It is a limited seating, and part of that's because the first 3 people to sign up are actually going to get live feedback, because I can only do so much live feedback and still keep it to 3 hours. So thanks for that, Matt. I really appreciate it. All right, final bits. It's the final round. Yamara, I really want to hear from you, because I know you've been in the industry for a really long time and you've like seen so many things. So I feel like you have a unique perspective on how we can make the industry better. So one, in your hope of hopes, how would you love for the industry to evolve? And what do you feel like you've been doing to help contribute to that? I know.
Well, it's tough, right? Because it's more fun to answer that question when you're not on the heels of a strike and you're rich. Like,
Yeah.
what can I do to, you know what I mean? Like, it's just it's a little heavier now, because I feel like we're in a place where talking about how to help things along is a little difficult, because we're all trying to get our footing on what's new. Everything's different. And I'll say, like, rooms are smaller. There are less comedy rooms. There are less drama rooms. On the film side, I think, like, ultimately buyers are looking for IP that is already proven, which means that there's a less room for original voices and work to come out. And because there's less rooms and those rooms are smaller, then we were in a situation where writers don't get to go through the entire production process and learn everything that they need to learn so that they can run a show one day, so we can keep all of this going.
Yeah.
And so in terms of what I would change and what I hope that my career changes or at least contributes to, is continuing that learning flow, that, like, I want to be in rooms and I want to run rooms where we all understand that it doesn't matter what level I'm at, I'm learning.
Yeah.
And everybody in that room is learning. We're all on a journey. And so whatever this show is going to teach us, like, we're on the journey together, we're figuring it out, and that has to be okay. And I really hope that right now it feels like we've been in survival since after the strikes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody's just like, I don't know. Are you working? Are you working? Like, nobody's working. Like, it felt like for a minute, no one wanted to say they weren't working. And then at 2 years, everybody was like, okay, I'm not working. No, I haven't been working. All right. Like, we all, everybody admitted. That's how I saw it, is that, like, and that's not to say that anyone was like hiding anything, but we also have had a lot of other stuff to worry about, just like as a country and as a city. LA keeps burning down. And so I I think that whatever is the new normal, which is being shaped right now, I personally think it's going to be like a more. I feel like it's going to be like a hybrid of where everything is a little more equal, right? Like I always say, there was a time where movie stars didn't do television. You know what I mean? And then they did do television. And then you saw movie stars in movies on streaming. And
Yeah.
that kind of leveled the playing field. And then you started seeing TV stars doing movies, and that leveled the playing field. And so you could do both. And I feel like what's happening now is that, but with the internet, and just kind of like we're just seeing like it matters. What happens online matters. That's another place. It's another marketplace. It's another place. Everything runs on advertising.
Yeah.
And television is always run on advertising. Radio and TV is always run on advertising.
Yep.
We started, the only reason we do this was to sell soap operas. They sold soap to housewives. Go to film school. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was. And so where we got to a place artistically where we were kind of like, I have a voice and I have a vision, and I just want to be able to say it without selling Ford trucks. And I was like, go ahead. And then we went to streaming, and it was like, no bitch, you better sell some Ford, because this was over a year. And so now on streaming, there's advertising. Like I'm watching Love Island, and there's an Uber Eats commercial, and some dude is selling Uber Eats to Ariana, the host of Love Island, and everybody's jewelry is for sale, and I'm up there like getting the QR code, like I want to get her jewelry or whatever. So it's like I feel like everything is kind of just like converging into one giant thing.
Yeah.
And there's an element of that where people that have been doing this for a long time, it's really scary, because we used to know exactly. It's the same as streaming blowing up, and all of a sudden you know what network and cable is. You know what those deals look like. You know what you're going to get paid. You know what your script fees are. You know what your residuals are. And then here comes streaming. And at first we're like, we could do what we want. And then it was like, oh, okay. Do we want to do it?
Yeah.
Right. And so there's an element of it where all of that is terrifying. Like, I don't want to be, I want to be a brand, but I never thought of, but it's all scary to me, because that's not what I came in to do.
Yeah.
And so I think everything is changing, and we have to change with it. And I think that like we're storytellers. So the storytellers in the business know what this is. We're just used to writing about it with our characters. But right now we're the character, and it's like, okay, everything is different. So like I'm breaking into act 3 as far as my personal story is concerned after the strike, because it's been really, really difficult. And I work all the time. I am constantly busy.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed for that. But I also work. I pitch. I'll work. I figure it out. You know what I mean? And hopefully at some point that pays off. And I know that pays off I know that wherever we land, it's going to look different.
Yeah.
It's like the Industrial Revolution. Everybody was like, what are these machines? And then it was like, everybody got a Ford. You like it now that you could drive to the beach.
Yep.
Now you're into it. So
Yeah.
I just think that like so what I hope that I bring, that all of this has really helped me learn about myself, and what I have to offer, honestly, is wisdom. It really is, because my whole life story is about adapting and kind of coming through hard shit, unfortunately, right? But I'm very resilient, and so I'm scrappy. And I was just talking to someone the other day, like this industry was built by scrappy people.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody that's succeeding in the business is they're succeeding because they're scrappy. They may have had help. We all need help.
Yeah.
But they had to have a thick skin. They had to adapt. They had to say here no and do it anyway. They had to come up with a more creative idea. They had to hound an agent, hound a manager, hound a producer. They had to start filming their own thing because nobody else would give them money. They had to write their own script because nobody would listen to their pitch. And so we're just in a place where whatever that looks like, what we're used to it looking like, now it's different. Now it might be, I gotta be personal brand. And thank God I have all this experience to offer people. But I have to do something different because things are different. So if something changes, we know this from writing, something changes. If you change, something changes. If something changes, you gotta change.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's hard to accept. And what I want to offer people is that you don't have to accept it because it's already happening.
Yep.
You don't have to like it. You don't have to accept it. But you're here because you're good at it. You're resilient. You're here because there's something like you can pivot. Because you wouldn't be here if you couldn't pivot. You know, that's a part of creativity. And so I hope to be in positions where I can just give what I've learned and just help feed the I just want no matter what is happening, I want people to win. No matter how afraid we are, no matter how so many people right now, so many writers, so many actors, people are losing their homes right now. Like it is fucked up.
Yeah.
Since strike. It is beyond. And it's tough. And so everybody it's like you have that and then we have these like reps that it almost is like this is not the time. This is the time you have to be scrappy. So we all, you have reps, they're at a loss because they're like, I don't know. Because if buyers aren't buying, then who are they selling you to?
Yeah.
And then it becomes, okay, now what do we do? You can, and this is not the, normally I'd be like, just keep writing. For who? Tappy, sure, but right, it's not as fun because for who?
Yeah.
And then I say we have an opportunity right now because of the internet. And I know I sound old, I just keep calling it the internet, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
But because of the internet, like what I saw at DreamCon were kids that were Matt's age that had access to equipment. When I tell you coming through film school, I didn't have that. Like when I was coming up, Spike Lee and John Singleton were the people that I knew of that took a camera and made something and it blew up. Mm-hmm. But now these kids, they have access to affordable equipment, even if it's just your phone and lighting and the World Wide Web that tells them how to do stuff for free. So free film school if you want it. And there's no reason not to, because if you don't have a job, that's all the fuck you got to do.
Yep.
If you don't have a job, make something and put it out into the world because it has never been easier. Yeah. And then it becomes, well, nobody sees it in every, right? Because I think right now we're in a place where buyers want, because there are metrics and data that they can see. Now it's like we only want to fuck with people that have these followers and likes and da-da-da-da-da. And that's disheartening because it doesn't mean you're not talented. It just means you're not good at social media. Hello.
Yeah.
Right. But it doesn't mean that you're not talented. And so, but what I figured out is people like Matt, who are young and spunky and sassy, they also understand how to move the algorithm. Mm-hmm. They know how to get attention. It's attention economics. And that's all the buyers are looking at. Where do people put their attention? Metaphysically, where you put your attention on grows. What you put your attention on grows. The same thing is true for the internet. What you engage with, what you put your attention on grows. So this is the only time that we have had as creative people, and I don't want to say creators because I'm not limiting it to online content creators.
Sure.
Right. But as a creative society in our industry, this is the first time that we've had direct access to our audience.
Yeah.
First time. Right. Where we could say, hey, I made this. Do you like it? And they could say, yes, I do. No, I don't. And then there is a number that tells us what they think roughly. They can hate like it, but still. And that's information. And so there's a part of that that's incredibly freeing and liberating. And then there's the part of it, what we're dealing with now is that companies go, haha, that number, if it's not high enough, we're not going to risk money, because that's what everybody has to understand too. All of this is money. This is not right. Like this is you have to come in and be remarkable, worth remarking upon.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. But it's also what's going to make them money. And so we can bitch all day about like, it didn't used to be about that. It was always about that. It was always about that. It was always about that. Yep. The stuff that is always like we are a capitalistic society. We always have been.
Yeah.
Right. I should know because my fucking people weren't getting paid because we have kept a low overhead.
Yeah.
Right. We don't
and
like
how it's shifted.
labor. Yeah. Like, so these are not new ideas. We just don't like it. And because we don't like it, we oftentimes just get stuck and we get sad. And I have been there the past couple of years, just stuck and sad because things don't look the way I'm used to them looking. And so we all just kind of have to know that if something is different, you got to meet it. Yeah. And get in where you fit in, because the truth is that no one knows. You can call your reps all day and be like, give me a job. And they'll be like, where, how? Right. And let me be very clear that I don't like that answer. But, there's an aspect of it that's like, okay, let me figure it out.
Yeah.
Ideally, they're helping you figure it out because they're in this too. You know what I mean? Like, so we're all in it. It just, if you go on Deadline, if you go on Variety, go on Hollywood Reporter, it doesn't necessarily look like everybody is dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
But every TV writer is dealing with the same thing. Every filmmaker is dealing with the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so in terms of like, I don't even remember your original question.
No, you've nailed it. This is all about, and that's one of the reasons I want to have the conversation about like, what can we do to elevate the future of filmmaking, television making, the content creation. And I think you're right. It starts with recognizing, where are we right now? We can't elevate if we don't know where we are.
No,
and then
you are.
Yeah. And then wherever you are, get scrappy about it. Right. Like I think this comes back to, people who are entering the industry or don't understand the pivot of the industry have that same complaint, which is like, what's the most direct route to success? And I'm like, if you really want a direct route to success in the industry, become an industry accountant. You can still have a direct route. It's just going to be an accountant.
There's no direct route to success in any industry, right? Because accounting. The truth is that everybody's journey is different. Everyone's path is different. I can make the exact same choices that you make, but because I'm a different person, it will come out differently.
Yeah.
I have a different worldview. The way I see the world is just I can't see with your glasses.
Yeah.
And so I have to pivot. Like I feel bad for people coming in right now, because before, at least there was kind of like a I guess a pipeline where it was like, okay, be a writer's assistant, and then da 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 da, and then da 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 da.
Yep. The process
And
was there.
now, yeah, it was kind of like a film school, ba 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 ba, and then you work your way up.
Yeah.
But even in my time, it was supposed to be you jump on a show, and then you start as a staff writer, and then every year you get a bump. I was a staff writer like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
That's not normal. So my path is already different.
Yeah.
I was paper teamed. That's not normal. My path is already different.
Yeah.
So if you look for your path to look, you have to just accept where things are, where you are, and then you can kind of see like, okay, for me and what I am trying to do, this sounds good. Like there was a point where I just now started reading the trades. I didn't read the trades, the majority. I didn't know who people were because it got me in my head too much.
Yeah. I'm
You
right
know
there.
what I mean? Yeah, and I always say, like, I can't count other people's money.
Yeah.
I can't track other people's shit. Like I have to run my race. And
Yeah.
sometimes, and right now, my race sucks. It's just like, oh, I'm tired. Nobody's meeting me with water. I don't have no Gatorade. I got stitches in my side. I am out of shape. I thought this was going to be a small race, and now it's a marathon. Like, what?
Yes.
Right?
All the yeses.
So I just think that if you're coming in now, my advices will always be, tell everybody you meet what you're trying to do. Doesn't matter if you did it. It doesn't matter if it's good. And now, because we are where we are technologically, make something, put it online over and over and over again. This is an opportunity to find your voice and get immediate feedback that's not just your mama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because my mom thinks everything I do is great. And by the way, any show I've written on has been like, well, I don't like those other people. You don't know them? And I didn't write that by like, it's always like my episode was good, but all the other episodes were not good. And I'm like, what? Like I wrote on all that, so that's not.
Yes.
You have an opportunity to write something or make something or write and make something, put it online, get feedback, let it make you better. And maybe while you're doing that, someone will notice and go, hey, why don't you do this over there? It may not be a filmmaker saying, I want to tap you for another film, because maybe the next thing, how all of this levels out, is that film is not the fucking next thing everybody's going to care about. It feels like right now we're kind of maybe unconsciously creating some other thing that we're all going to do, right? Like a lot of independent films, everybody is figuring out that nobody's buying. Like everybody is like, I got to figure out how to do this independently. Everybody is figuring out how can I make this and own the IP rights and find distribution so that I don't have to pay all these companies, all this money for my idea. How do I keep control of my creative? Everyone is trying to figure that out. So spend your time also looking into that, and don't rely on how things used to go.
Yeah.
And how it's supposed to go, or how your friend did it, or how your parents did it when it would. Old Hollywood, every time I go into a new writer's room, there's a bunch of Simpsons writers or some shit that's like, we all got rich off the Simpsons. And I'm always like, fuck you guys. Every generation of writer, there's a previous generation where everything was easier for, and everybody got rich because of that.
Yeah.
And now it's not like that anymore.
It's not like that anymore.
It's not. And it, but so now find the thing that it is for you, because another thing that we have done is we're a more individualistic society, right? We don't all watch the same thing unless it's Love Island. That's the only thing I watch at the same time, is I want to watch beautiful people get into some drama. I love that shit. I love that damn show. Right. But we don't watch TV. We don't all watch the same movie. We're not all into the same stuff anymore as a society, where everything is spread out. Everyone has their niche, and to some degree it's a bummer, and to another degree it's cool. So find where it's cool for you to be like that, and find your niche, and figure out what you have to offer, your niche that allows you to be creative. And maybe when you're doing that and you're aligned with whatever you truly want to do, like really dig deep and figure out what it is that I want to give to people, not what you want to get. What do you want to give?
What do you want to give? Mm-hmm.
What do you want? Will you figure that out? And if a giant big old company comes and finds you and pays you for it, lovely. And in the meantime, you got bills to pay. Yep. Apparently you're supposed to be in branding. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out too. So if you figure that out, holla at your girl, let me know.
Right. Tell you what. Hey, thank you, by the way, for spending your Friday with me. This has been really great.
This was fun.
But yes, we're gonna discover the Substack thing together and see.
I know that would be so fun. Wait, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So okay, my name is Yamara Taylor, but then I have just my fun what is it? Little it's not an alter ego, but Yam the God is my like rap name, even though I'm not a rapper.
Right on.
And so should I do my Substack under Yamara Taylor, or should I do it under Yam the God? Because that's where I get stuck too. Maybe I should do it under Yamara Taylor. That's what my website is.
I feel like, for the sake of people being able to find you easily, have it match like your website.
I agree.
Because it's just consistent that way. But when you sign at the end of a thing, sign it personal. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because then, one, it could be a fun little hashtag, right? And like a little inside, if you know, you know. But that way you can have your cake and eat it too, right? You can have some brand consistency, but you can also have that thing that's like, who I am, right?
Okay. I'll do that. Maybe I'll do about finding my brand.
That would be its own podcast, actually, because oh my God, it's so hard. It's so it's the same creative feedback cycle, honestly, of you have an idea, you plug it in, you go what works, what doesn't, you go through that cycle, right? So it's the same thing as you have a brand. Who's my audience? You find your audience, it refines your brand. As you refine your brand, who is it reaching? Is that my audience? You refine your brand. So you just said the whole find your niche. Part of that is going based on what I'm putting out there. Who am I attracting? And am I meeting their needs, right? And if I'm not meeting their needs, then whose needs am I meeting? Or do I change to meet those people's needs, right? And so that back and forth.
Not meeting their needs. Will they say mean things to me in my comments?
Surveys are a really great way to go. Testimonials are a really great way to go. But I find that most entrepreneurs that I have followed are like, hey, by the way, after you do a thing, make sure you include that survey. One, because they want the goods at the end of that survey, discount or whatever, but also because that feedback will tell you whether or not you're actually delivering, right? The purchase is just fulfilling the promise of your funnel from marketing and branding all the way to click through. But when they actually get the goods and digest the goods, if it's not what they're looking for, if they bought a bag of chips and they were expecting plantain and you gave them Doritos, we need to address that. You only know that after they've gotten it. So the survey really, or polls really help too.
Can I point out?
Yeah.
This is micro, macro, right? Everything you explained is basically what studios and networks do to find out if a project, a movie, a television show works. We are all now in this business. If you have talent to write or to make, direct, whatever it is, we are now in a position, the way things are changing is that you are your own little movie studio. You're your own television network.
Yep.
Your online identity, your Instagram, your social media, whatever that is. Mine is the Yamara Taylor channel. Welcome to Yamara Taylor, right? That's when you go online and you look at Yamara Taylor, it's my show. It's the Yamara Taylor show. And
Yeah.
so this is what you're going to get. This is who I am. It used to be back in the day, I could just say, Yamara Taylor, writer, mommy, man. No, that's not enough anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So now we're in a thing, I think that like where people can feel more empowered is to understand that now we got our own little slice. I always say, like, I make my own Hollywood just based on the people that I do business with and based on the people that I like and who I hang out with.
Yeah.
And so whatever I make online, whatever I present online, that's the Yamara Taylor network.
Yeah.
Right? Yamara Taylor Films.
That's
That's
happen. Do it.
No, that really is. And I think kind of changing, like everybody thinking of it that way,
Yeah.
might help all of us figure out at least what to do while we're figuring it out.
Yeah. Amen to that. On that happy note, this camera battery may die, so I feel like I want to wrap before my camera battery 2 dies. But just as a friendly reminder to anybody who is listening, whether live or recorded, if you want to be able to work with Yamara, because she does offer consulting, you can reach her at yamarataylor.com. And please, because she rocks at this. We've already broken down something live here as part of the podcast. Make sure you check in with her and like amp up your funny and find the heart of your story, because those two things are very important when you're trying to move forward with story. And Yamara, hopefully I'll see you on Substack.
Please. Okay, let me know. We got to talk offline so I could do it.
Yes. Done. I love it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. And Matt, thanks for hanging in there. I know this was an extra long one, but you knew it was going to be good.
Thank you for letting me talk, Matt. I'm
Yeah, of
chatty.
course.
That's why I'm trying to get a podcast going, man, because I'm chatty.
Yes. Look,
Perfect platform to do that.
Really is. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday, and I'll talk to you next week.
Okay, bye.